Yo, what's up my people? Welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to run you through how to make this shokoto with elastic and rope. Then we're going to go into making this beautiful Ankara top. So if you're new to my channel, please like, share and subscribe and stick true to the end. Please have your notes and be ready to practice immediately you finish watching this tutorial. So let's dive right into it. So first things first, you want to fold your fabric into two. You fold it into two. We're cutting the shokoto first. So you can see the measurement of the screen. So what I usually do is that I add 3 extra inches to the wideness of the fabric so that it will perfectly fit the front and the back with that single double fold of your fabric. So I measure the length. You measure from here to here. Measure from here to here, the preferred length. The length of this is 39. So I'll mark 39. Then 5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I dragged it down here so that I'll be able to use this English fold to turn in my fabric. So you measure your 5 inches or 5.5 at the downside. So I'll just mark out this place so that I know exactly where I'm cutting from. Just going to run it through. So once you've measured to your preferred length, you're going to mark it. Then you add 5 or 5.5 inches. Then for the foot, you're going to do your foot divided by 2. In my case, it's 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5, which I marked here. You do the same for the down part too, so that it corresponds. So we're done with that area. So the next thing now we're going to measure or get is our thigh or lap area. So you do your lap divided by 2. Please pay close attention to this part and how I'm marking it. So you set your tape on the fabric and measure from that 2 inches point, as you see on the screen. Measure from that point. Then to get the crouch, I usually do it 14 or 15, but I want it to have allowance, breathing space, so I'm doing it 15. I mark 15 there. Pay close attention to how I'm doing this, please. So since my lap area is 25, I'm going to mark 2 inches up from there. As you can see, I left 2 inches in the front and mark from there so that it will have that curved crouch shape that you see. So I mark from there and I just curve it easily like that once you've marked that point. So another thing, when you want to get these points, is that you measure the knee area, like to connect this point from the foot to the crouch. Is that you measure the knee area so that you get the middle, so that you're able to easily measure it down. But I don't usually do it most of the time because I know what works for me, but for you, you should be able to do that so that you're able to accurately get that point very well. So I've connected my own, and this works perfectly for my clients. This place where you can measure the knee of your customer. So if you've been following everything I've been saying since, it should look like this. So please look at what you're doing. You should be able to look like this. So next thing we do, we're going to cut it now. Please be very careful around this place. You want to make sure you're following the curve that you made in the crouch area. So you cut it smooth like that, and then you cut all the way down. Nice and easy. And there you have it. We've successfully cut the front of the fabric. Now I'm just going to separate the two. So remember this part, I'm just going to quickly trim it off. Another thing to note is that before you cut, and dear tailors, my fellow swimmers, before you cut, always cross check your measurements. It's better to get this right once than just rush and so rubbish. So always cross check before you cut any part or anywhere. So I'm just going to quickly cut out this place that was the excess. So moving on, now we're going to cut the back of the shokoto. So I almost through with it. We are 70% done. So make sure you position it perfectly well. Take note of that down. I had to make sure that the placing is also an English mouth for the back also. So at this point, you're going to measure 3 inches. Take note, measure 3 inches from that point and just mark it across like that. So for this other area, I usually have a measurement for it too. I give about 2.5 inches in this place, as you can see. About 2.5 inches, because this is a shokoto. It's going to be free but not too baggy, according to how your customer wants it, but like giving 2.5 is okay. Then in this down part, like just like half inch below that 3 inch that you mark, I usually put about 2.5 there, so that the lap area is going to be breathable. Then from the foot area, you measure about 2 inches, so that is the sewing allowance for both sides. Measure 2 inches. Just going to mark 2 inches so that you're able to easily connect it. So the next one we're going to do, we're going to cut it out. Please note that while cutting, yours every side should be equal. If you're following so far, this is the result you should get. So the next thing we're going to do now is to notch it. So in order to accurately notch it, I'm going to bring the camera up very close so you can see it very well. Pay attention here. So from that side, you're going to measure 2.5 inches for the front. Mark 2.5 inches. This is for the rope opening. And then mark 1.5 from that 2.5 you've measured already. So you just give it a slight notch, take it inside about ½ inch. So I'm going to bring the camera up close so you can see from there 2.5, 1.5. So for the back, at the edge of the back, the straight side, you're going to mark about 4 inches. So you see my tape rule. You mark about 4 inches from there and you give it a notch. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comments. I will respond as soon as I can. So we're through with cutting everything and putting every notch that we need to for our shokoto that will have elastic and rope. So you kindly fold it. Then the next thing we're going to cut is the rope. So for the rope, I usually leave about 1.5 inches. That is for the wideness of the rope. Or it varies. There's no specific measurement for the rope, just depending on how slim or okay that you want it. But for me, I usually use about 1.5 inches wideness So this is me just managing material. So you cut out your rope like that. So that is that for cutting the rope. So for the pockets, you're going to fold the fabric into two. You can use your Ankara fabric or another fabric. So the wideness, you mark about 14 inches or 14 and a half. Then you fold again. So the length we're going to use here is also 14. So that is how you're going to do it. Pay close attention here so you don't miss out. So some people, their Ankara fabric doesn't used to reach and end up using another fabric to work inside, but it doesn't show outside. I'm going to make another tutorial on sewing this outfits. So please stay tuned to my channel, like and subscribe so you don't miss out when I post that video. So observe this place very well. See this side that is open. That is where you want to curve from, not the other side. Look at it. See that other side that is already open. So you want to curve from there. Just do a small curve so that your pockets will have shape. Then you trim out a little bit from the side that was closed. Do not make mistake and divide your pockets into four. You are going to just get two pieces, two good perfect pieces of pockets for this. So you measure about 7 inches. That is what you're going to use for your pocket hole. So you just notch that 7 inches and your pockets is set. So that is everything you need to cut for your shokoto. So onto the next, we are going to cut the top now. So this is what you're going to do. You divide your chest divided by 4. So you just fold your tape rule 3 times, as you can see me doing. This is the measurement we're using too, as you can see on your screen. So you will divide it. Chest is 39 here. So I'm going to add about 3 inches. So 39 divided by 4, it's 9 3/4. So you want to, if you have an iron, please make do so that your cutting is going to be as smooth as possible. So you just keep on adjusting your fabric until it's okay for everything, both the main measurements and the allowance you're going to add. So I've gotten it. So I did it's 13. So 9 3/4 is almost close to 10. So I just added 3 inches. Then you're going to measure your length. The length that I'm using here is 35. So you mark your 35. Then you add 2 extra inches. See, 35 and 2 inches. So you do it like that. This is for the front of the fabric. And you cut. No cut your tape rule. Sharp. So we've successfully cut the front of the fabric. Moving on to the next now is going to be the back of the fabric. Pay attention. So the fabric was kind of like a bit stressing me out here. I had to find a means to iron it and straighten it out. So you're going to do the exact same measurements you did for the front with a difference. So pay attention and don't miss out. So before you cut it, I had to smoothen it out a bit with my gas iron. I'm not waiting for NEPA. So while I quickly do that, you can also do that with your iron so that it's smooth and okay. So you're going to measure. Remember, I did the first one 35 plus 2, that is 37. So from that 37 now, you're going to add 4 extra inches. Take notes, 4 extra inches. I'm not going to start calculating the 4 inches from 35, but from 37. You mark 4 extra inches from that 35. That is a total of 39 inches. You mark it. Because we're doing this so that because we're going to slant the front. You will see it shortly. So now that we've successfully cut out the back, you're going to bring the front. Take note for the English mouth of your fabric. That is what we're going to use to fold inside. If yours doesn't have, it's still okay. So now this for a better view, see how I place the fabric. So you're going to place it like this. See that 4 inches side that I say you should give. So that place should be 4 inches. You bring your front fabric up as you see. Just place it like this. So what we're going to do from here now, this side at the edge is open already. You're going to mark 3 inches from that point. 3 inches from there. So you're going to take it up like this, slant it. So be careful guys in this area. 3 inches from that side that is open to the other side, so you slant it from there. The next thing, you're going to bring it down. You bring it down, you balance it and even it out. So now you bend it like so. So that bending now should overlap the front by about just half inch. So iron it so that it stays and it won't stress you. So I'm just going to quickly do that. So getting there. So the next thing you want to do now is use your measurements now to bring out the shape of this fabric. So take note from that edge, from the edge of that side, you measure about 2.5 inches. The neck I'm working with is 16.5. So I'm going to do it 2.5. Then for the length of the neck, I'm going to mark 4 inches. I see where I'm marking from that edge that I showed you people. So I will do the 2.5 here also for the front so that I'm able to curve it and get the midpoints and everything perfectly. So see how curvy it is. Next, we're going to cut out the shoulder. So see where I placed my tape rule. So you're going to do the shoulder divided by 2. In my case, 17. See, fold your tape rule into 2. So your preferred or the person's shoulder. 17 divided by 2 is 8.5 plus half inch. That is 9 inches. That half is for sewing allowance. So see where I placed my tape rule. I marked 9 inches from that point, from this other side here that is open. So I hope you guys are following. Like I said, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Then for the armhole, I do it 8 inches. Usually do it 8 inches for an adult. So 8 inches works fine. Then you're going to get your chest measurements. So since the chest is 39 in my case, I'm going to do it 12.5. I'm going to mark 12.5 here, like so. Then I'm going to curve it. Try as much as possible to get this curve perfectly. I might make another video on this, getting the armhole. I'm used to cutting like this and my customers love it, so that's why I kind of like work really well without instruments. So the next thing, you're going to measure the stomach measurement. So you do the same thing, the stomach divided by 4, fold your tape rule 3 times, you get it. Then you add, make sure you're always adding allowance like I'm doing. So for this I did it 12, gave about 12 inches. So 37 divided by 4, that is 9 1/4. So I did it 12 because I'm going to see trim out and leave about just 2 inches for allowance. So for the downside, that is the opening, you're going to, since this is going to have pockets by the side, I'm just marking about 8 inches. So this side is the hip area, so it has to have space, so I did it about 12.5. The same with the armhole allowance space. So at this point I also marked about 12 inches so that I'm able to connect this side pretty well. This side should not be curvy. It's women that have curve. This side should be as straight as possible but have a little shape. So just watch as I cut it. So cross check all your measurements, make sure everything works nice and okay. Then after confirming, you go ahead with your cutting. See this neck, don't cut the back, or see how I'm cutting it. Cut like that. See that place, I didn't cut there. So you just take a piece and curve it from there. Don't cut the back of your fabric while cutting here. So be very careful in this place and make sure that you're cutting where you're supposed to cut, like you're saying in the video. Pardon me for talking that way, but I just want to give the best possible information as I can, being as detailed and as simplistic as I can. So see this place now, I'm going to cut to be very straight. So you say that it's not curvy, but it also has a bit of shape. Don't allow it to be too curvy, or no be woman it is so for. So the next thing now we're going to do is just trim out that back piece a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. Then you measure the neck to see what it gives you. So mine, after measuring, it gave me about 9 inches, which is okay, because while sewing a zip clothes, you want to have allowance so that you fold inside. So for this armhole, so that the armhole won't be puffy, this is what you do. So from that point to that other point, you divide it by 2. So after dividing by 2, you mark about ½ inch or like 3/4 from there, and just mark it like so that the armhole will rest perfectly on the person's clothes, so that it won't be puffy. I usually do about ½ inch or 3/4 there. So please take notes, do not cut your shoulder, or nothing concern the shoulder you've cut already. I just taking a bit piece from the front there. So the next thing we're cutting is the pockets. Remember I told you this thing is going to have 2 side pockets. So I'm using the measurements of 7 inches and 8 inches. That is 7 inches for the wideness, 8 inches for the length. That is after sewing and everything. So I added about 2 inches allowance, 2 inches allowance for the wideness, about 3 inches for the length, so that in total is going to give me 7 and 8 inches. Then you just give a 2 inches notch on the upside, so you know what you're folding. Isn't this looking so pretty? I really love this fabric. So the next thing we're going to cut here now is the hand. Pay close attention here, because you're going to see something really interesting. So the math here is that for my armhole, I usually add about 2 inches, 2 inches to the armhole. So since the armhole was 8 inches for me, I'm going to about 2 inches, so that is 10. So I folded 10 inches here. So for the length is 15 inches. So I'm going to add about 5 inches so that I'll be able to fold inside well. So this varies, it depends if your material rich, if it doesn't reach, but for me I want enough allowance to fold. So that's why I'm doing is 5 inches. So you just cut it like so. This is a 3/4 hand. So after cutting this out, this is me just checking how this thing is going to fold, because that place is strong. I don't know what this sticker that all these Ankara people like putting, but remove that. So see, take note of this place that is open. This is where you do this marking from now. So you take from that side, you take about 4 inches upward. You mark about 4 inches there. Then you're going to do a curve like this. See how I make this curve? This is to make sure that your armhole fits perfectly well, and that is okay. See this curve that I made? I'm going to bring it closer to the screen now. So see how I made this curve and where the edge of each curve stops and starts from. See where the high side is, that place that is open. So you're going to fold it. This is the allowance that's going to be inside. So you're going to check it. Check if it's up to 15 inches. Please take note, whatever the length of your sleeve is, you add about half inch, because that half inch will be inside, so that after sewing and everything it will give you 15 inches. So that is what I'm doing here, adjusting it so that it's 15 and a half. So for the wideness is 16 inches. So I'm going to add about 1 inch extra for allowance. So 16 divided by 2, that is 8. Then plus 1 inch, that is 9. So I mark 9 inch there and put that mark there. So see where you're going to connect from now to trim out your arm, your sleeve rather, sorry. So hope you are seeing. So you carefully cut this place like this and notch there. Check everything corresponds. Then you cut. So you just smoothen it out, then you notch the place where you'll be folding inside, so that it's easier when you want to iron, then you fold inside. Now I too like to cross check everything to make sure it's all right. So 15 and a half, I'm satisfied. So you can do that too, to make sure that your cutting is always as smooth and crisp as possible, so that when you sew, the result will be wonderful. So the next thing you're going to cut now is your piping. Your piping has to be slant. Do not cut your piping straight. So see how slant I'm cutting it. Forget wasting material, whatever. If your neck is not sweet, you never sew close with that. So this is me making it as slanty as possible. So you see how stretchy it is, Abby? How stretchy it is. Like this will make it slip well on the clothes. So you just cut out those uneven edges. So you just cut it out. So the wideness I usually give about 3 inches or like 2.5. So the next thing now, you're going to cut your back facing. So this is simple, very simple. You just place it at the back and just cut out the exact shape of your back. This is called the back yoke. Just to give it more stability at the back, and it's so that you're able to easily turn or join the front and the back together. So you just cut it like so. So if you're following all the steps that I've been saying so far, you wouldn't have an issue at all. So thank you so much for watching. Please, if you have any question, drop it in the comments. Like, share and subscribe, and stay tuned for more, because every video I'm going to go deeper and better into this fashion game, helping you get better and better. See you in the next one.